And you properly said that we need to learn the lessons from what happened. And the administration and the Congress have been working to do just that. Here in the House, we already passed a Wall Street accountability bill to try and do two things. Number one, provide the Fed and others with the tools to make sure you don't have a situation where a firm becomes too big to fail in a manner that it hurts innocent people. Second, to make sure that there's a fail-safe. If somehow that happens, there's a pool of money raised from the banks, not from the taxpayers, to pay for the rescue. And number three, and the President has proposed this, a fee on the biggest financial institutions, $50 billion plus in assets, to recover every penny of TARP money. And I think it's important to understand, everyone understand, that includes every penny extended to AIG and every penny extended to the counterparties. Now, in the House, we passed a bill, and we had an amendment to that bill offered by Congressman Gary Peters of Michigan. I've got it right here. And it says that that fee will remain on the biggest banks, not just to capitalize a fund to be used in the event of future problems that they have to pay for their own, but it says you keep that fee on until you recover every penny. And I must say, I was surprised. I wish all our colleagues on the other side of the aisle were here. I was surprised that this very simple idea was rejected unanimously by the other side in a vote we had on this. And that vote would have ensured it passed, but that was a vote to make sure that we get back every penny that the taxpayer gave to AIG, every penny that the taxpayer gave to the counterparties. So if you could just speak to the importance of making sure, number one, we take measures to prevent this from happening in the future, but just as importantly, making sure we let everybody on Main Street that their money that they helped sent to rescue the package will be recovered if we adopt the proposal in the House and the President's proposal.
If Congress joins the President in adopting this proposed financial fee, then the American taxpayer will not be exposed to a penny of loss for everything the government had to do to fix this mess in AIG or everywhere else. That is not enough, though. We believe it is very important to make sure we work with Congress to put in place constraints that would prevent this from happening again. It was a tragic failure of the country not to act sooner to limit risk-taking by some of the largest institutions in the world that were operating with not enough capital and no oversight. And we have to make it clear in the future that we are going to be able to let firms fail without costing the taxpayers money and without causing collateral damage. Now, Mr. Van Hall, I just want to say one thing. The cost of the American people cannot be captured in the simple financial costs of the TARP. We will protect them from those costs if Congress passes this fee. But the costs of the crisis are much more damaging, cause much more damage. It can never be captured by the accounting costs of the losses under TARP. But we have a great responsibility and obligation to reform the system so they're not in that position again. And the least we can do is to make sure that the taxpayers aren't bearing the direct costs that we took in AIG, forced to take in AIG and elsewhere.
Pointing out, obviously, the costs. Some of these bad decisions obviously went beyond just the amount of extended, and are continuing to take actions to try to get the economy back on the right track. I just think it's important to understand, that if we adopt the amendment the House has taken as a matter of final law, or the President's proposal, which is very similar, that the monies that have been subject to the conversation today about the taxpayer extended to AIG and then went to the counterparties will be fully recouped and returned to the federal treasury on behalf of the taxpayers.
That's exactly right, and it's better than that, though, Congressman, because the specific transaction that is subject of so much attention appropriately in this hearing themselves are likely to earn the taxpayer a modest profit. But the government is still exposed to some risk of loss on the rest of its investments. But if we adopt this fee, the taxpayers will not bear a penny of that cost.